Commander Zyxdala's four eyes dilated in perfect synchronization as the massive structure materialized on their sensors. The Kethari exploration vessel Whispered Truth had been conducting routine deep space surveys when the anomaly appeared. A colossal metal construct drifting silently through the void, its surface scarred by countless battles. By the eternal harmonies, breathed Navigator Quindal, his tentacles trembling as data streams flooded their consciousness. It's enormous, nearly 3 kilometers in length. The alien vessel bore no resemblance to any known starship design in their extensive databases. Where Kethari ships curved gracefully like living organisms, this monstrosity was all brutal angles and armored plating. Weapon emplacements bristled along its hull like the spines of some ancient predator, and strange symbols marked its surface in harsh, geometric patterns. Are there life signs? Zyxdala asked, though part of her hoped the answer would be no. Faint ones, Quindal replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Whatever species built this, they're still aboard. The communications array crackled to life unexpectedly, causing several crew members to recoil. A harsh, guttural language filled their bridge, unlike anything in their linguistic databases. The universal translator struggled for several moments before producing a rough approximation. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Sarah Chun of the UES Indomitable. State your intentions. Zyxdala exchanged glances with her science officer, Merthaz, whose normally silver skin had turned a pale blue with anxiety. In their civilization's history, first contact protocols had always been elaborate affairs involving careful cultural exchange and diplomatic overtures. This was different. Transmit standard greeting protocols, she ordered, though her voice lacked its usual confidence. The response came swift and direct. We don't have time for formal pleasantries. Are you hostile? The bluntness was shocking. Merthaz's appendages writhed nervously as he processed the psychological profile emerging from their interaction. Commander, their thought patterns are aggressive, focused. They seem to categorize everything as either threat or non-threat with remarkable speed. Before Zyxdala could respond, more data flooded their sensors. The human vessel's power signatures were unlike anything they'd encountered, massive fusion reactors pushing energy through systems that seemed designed for one primary purpose: warfare. Yet strangely, many of the weapon systems remained powered down, a gesture that their xenopsychologist interpreted as cautious restraint rather than peaceful intent. Captain Chan, Zyxdala began carefully. We are explorers from the Kethari Collective. We mean no harm and seek only understanding. A pause. Then, explorers, right? You picked an interesting place to explore. This sector's been contested territory for the better part of a decade. Contested. The word sent ripples of unease through the bridge crew. The Kethari had encountered 17 different species in their expansion into space, and while not all had been friendly, none had been actively warlike. The hegemony's been pushing through here monthly. We've been holding the line. There was a weariness in the human's voice that their translator couldn't fully capture. You really don't know about the war? War. The concept was so alien to the Kethari that their language had only recently developed terms for it after studying primitive historical records. Yet here was a species that spoke of it as casually as they might discuss stellar navigation. Our people do not engage in such conflicts, Zyxdala managed. Another pause, longer this time. When Captain Chun spoke again, something had changed in her tone. You're lucky, then. Question is, how long can you keep it that way? The implications hung heavy in the space between the two vessels. As more data about the human ship filtered through their systems, a disturbing picture emerged. This wasn't just a warship, it was a survivor. Battle damage, hastily repaired hull breaches, and energy signatures consistent with extended combat operations painted a story of a species that had known violence on a scale the Kethari couldn't comprehend. Yet they were still here, still fighting, still protecting something. Captain, Zyxdala said finally, perhaps we could learn from each other. The response, when it came, carried something that might have been respect. Maybe. But first, you need to understand something about this galaxy. It's not as peaceful as you think. As the whispered truth prepared for humanity's first lesson in cosmic reality, Zyxtala wondered if some knowledge came at too high a price.